Hello and welcome to another episode of The Wannabe Entrepreneur. My name is Tiago and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I have to say that I was really missing this conversation and you and I have every week. It really helps me to just relax, and it's kind of a therapy session for me, to be honest. It's really helping. Having this podcast is really helping me in my journey as an entrepreneur and as a bootstrapper. Today I have a packed episode for you, like always. A lot of things happening, and I will be speaking about one thing that happened in Indie Hackers. As you probably know, Indie Hackers has been my main source of marketing, and I have been pushing a little bit too far, so I got told off by one of the moderators. I will tell you about that. I will also tell you about the community and some struggles that I've been having in the past week due to this idea of scaling up and how I can scale it. And April started and it's my first month without unemployment money. So I'm currently burning my savings, and I'll be talking about that, how that makes me feel, and a couple of thoughts that have popped up in my mind. And then in the end, as always, I will be speaking about tips and tricks for entrepreneurs. And today I have a cool tool to speak with you about. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's episode. So this past week I went karting, and I'm sure you know what karting is, right? This motor race sport is kind of where all the F1 drivers start, right? They start with karting. And I'm not an expert whatsoever. I think this was the third time I've done it. I've done it once, really long time ago, and then I did it in Germany, an indoor karting, which is much scary, by the way, than outdoor. This time we did outdoor, so it's much better. And I'm the kind of driver that really likes to practice a defensive kind of driving. And I consider myself a good driver, to be honest, but I like to be cautious. I like people that I'm driving to be comfortable, and when someone is driving me, I'm very picky. I hate when people have this kind of aggressive style of driving. They accelerate a lot, they try to overtake, they brake a lot. It's just not comfortable, and I get nervous. I really don't like that. And because of that, I tend to assume that I wouldn't be good at karting, because I guess I don't like taking risks. And this is something, and now we kind of are entering a little bit in more the therapy session. But I always think that I am not good enough because I'm afraid of taking risks. And if I go back, I don't know, when I was, for instance, sailing, I used to sail. I know it's kind of a posh sport, but it's really amazing. So we used to do these competitions, right? And I used to see all the other kids kind of pushing the boat to the limits, and eventually they would like flip it. And I remember me and my teammate, it was like a boat for two, and we were always trying to avoid flipping the boat. We were very cautious, and part of me was always kind of criticizing us because I wanted to be like the other kids. I wanted also to flip the boat because that kind of meant that I was taking risks, and that my fear was not kind of keeping me from achieving my best potential. So I always have this kind of thing. I have this inner thought that I'm not good enough because I'm afraid of taking risks. And I've been recently trying to understand that and accept that. So, for instance, when we went skiing, I had friends that love speed. They would go down the hill super fast, and every time I was getting too fast, I braked. Yeah, I learned this now, actually. Actually, brake and brake, so take a break or break your car, they are spelled in different ways. It's funny. So brake, like brake fast is BREAK, whereas break your car is BRAKE. So you don't say I broke the car, because that means a different thing. You just say I braked. Anyway, this was kind of my English lesson of today's episode. But yeah, I kind of felt that I needed to learn to feel confident with my skiing skills before I updated to the next piste, for instance, right? So you start with green, then you go to blue, and then you go to red, and I would only go to red once I felt comfortable. And then I felt comfortable and I would do it no problem. And I felt that there was people that they were still kind of afraid of going to the reds, because they and that made me feel good. That made me feel okay. I overcame this fear. I'm willing to take risks, but it's a different kind of risk. It's kind of a controlled risk, right? So back to this story. We're driving. It was me, my cousin, and there was also other people there competing with us that we didn't know. So just to give you some context, my cousin and I is 3.5 years younger than me. But growing up, I was always kind of the older in our core family and my cousins. And I have a sister, but the person that I competed with the most is my cousin. So growing up, we're like playing kicker, playing soccer, or football in Europe, of course. We're always kind of competing with each other, and in a nice way. So obviously I knew that he was about to give me shit in the karting and saying, yeah, okay, I will beat you. And to be honest, I believe that he would beat me, because if you compare my style of driving with his, he drives much more aggressively, like speed, is less afraid of taking risks. So I immediately thought, okay, my goal here is not to win. My goal is to do somehow a good lap, not to embarrass myself, let's say, not to be in the end. So we started racing, right? And immediately the two guys that we didn't know, but they were actually competing in the lower powered car, and they overtake me. So everyone is overtaking me, and I'm really doing terrible timing. So I was doing about 1 minute 20, 1 minute 25 lap times, which is really, really terrible. Everyone is overtaking me, of course, including my cousin, that at this point is already giving me one is kind of overtaking me twice. And I was really feeling bad. Like, come on, what's happening? I don't know. So I tried to relax. And I tried to, I was speaking to myself. I was driving and say, okay, try to do this. Wow, come on, accelerate. I was really in the zone. And I tried to copy what others were doing. And I kid you not, after 10 minutes, something kind of switched in my brain. And I started to understand how to do the turns, how to cut the corners. And my time completely improved. So I went from 1 minute 20 to 1 minute 8, 1 minute 7, and my best lap ended up being 1 minute 6. It felt amazing, I have to say, because it's really one little thing that I was able to overcome, that I was able to learn how to properly do the corners, changed the whole dynamics of my racing. I was much more confident. I could accelerate more, and I was overtaking people again. In the end, I had the second fastest lap. My cousin still beat me, which was somehow bad, because I knew he was going to give me shit. He was always mocking me, especially in the beginning when he was able to basically overtake me twice. But I felt really good. I felt really good because I was able to exceed my own expectations. And if you remember the episode I recorded called, I think it was called The Ugliest Entrepreneur Sentiment or Feeling. In this episode, I told you there was feeling jealousy. I was jealous of Wolfie. Wolfie is a good friend, also an entrepreneur, and he just started his podcast back then. And he immediately got more listens than I did in 8 months of doing this podcast. So I felt jealous. And then I was trying to kind of explore these feelings, and I explored these feelings here with you in the podcast. And a couple of people told me that I should only compete with myself. I should not compete with others. And I never really understood that until this karting experience, because I knew that I was really terrible. And my goal was to become better, and I was able to exceed that. And to be honest, I didn't care that my cousin was giving me shit, that he beat me. I was super happy because I was able to beat myself, you know? So, what I also realized, and going back to those kind of insecurities that I have, that I don't take enough risks, is that it's okay for kind of building up your confidence until you take risks. And there's people that they have a lower threshold that are immediately able to step up and being faster, going down the red slope. And then there's other people that need to gain the trust to get there. It doesn't mean that we won't be able to reach that. It just means that we have a different path. So this is kind of what I'm trying to accept that even though I sometimes might take more time or a different path to reach a certain goal, it's still okay. I'm not inferior and I can still make it, you know. I have a lot of this imposter syndrome, and as an entrepreneur, this is not healthy, right? It's not easy, but it's something that we kind of all have. I think most of us have it, and we have to overcome it. And sometimes not building up your capacity until you take the risk is not good. So yesterday I was watching this Netflix documentary called Fire, about the Fire Festival. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's basically a huge flop festival. They overpromised, and then people went there, they paid a lot of money, and then everything was terrible. There was no tents, there was no music, and they basically had to fly back. What I felt about that, I think his name is Brian, but I'm not sure, is the entrepreneur, the CEO of this company. And I always felt that it was living in a much higher level than what he could handle, right? So clearly he's one of these people that are not afraid to take risks, but he was not ready for it, right? So he didn't know anything about building a festival and everything involved, and end up being a huge flop. And now he's facing a jail, I guess. So it's also important to learn how to reach there. And as an entrepreneur, that's what I've been doing for the past months, 8 months, 9 months, learning how to become better, learning small things. And if you learn slowly, once you reach that point of let's do it, you know, you have a lot of users, you have a lot of pressure, you know how to handle it because you took each step until you reach there. And that's what I hope it will happen here with the community. WBE Space has been growing a lot. And, not a lot, but definitely I can see the growth. I was able to double my MRR, so my monthly recurring revenue, in the month of March. So I was making in February about $90, and now I'm making $180. So really, really amazing. And if you remember, I told you also last week that people started to question, how is this community going to scale? And that really affected me. In this past week, because I was nervous. I didn't know what could I do, and I tried to come up with solutions so that I could scale the community. And eventually I was kind of freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I was just like looking at my screen, and that happens to me quite often. I have too many ideas and I didn't know which one I should take. And actually recently now we had an event with the community about productivity, and one exercise that now I learned that I should do and I'll start doing is the brain dump. A brain dump is you basically get a piece of paper and you write down all of your ideas, all of your thoughts, and you take them off your head so that you can focus then in what really matters. I'll definitely start doing that. But one thing that also really helped me to kind of stop spiraling was to speak with the members of the community. There are members that are very active, that really like the community, and I need their feedback. I need their input. So I asked around, and one of them was Jasper. He's a user of the community, also really cool projects that he has going on with 3D printing and so on. And I asked him, like, do you think this is getting too much? Do you think that there's too much new people joining that you're kind of losing interest? And he said, no, it's completely fine. So far, I'm able to read everything, and if eventually we get to a lot of people, I just mute a couple of channels and I just use the channels that I like the most. That really made me feel great. I was able to relax, to take a deep breath. After all, it's not that bad. We still only have 40 members now. It's not that much. So I shouldn't stress out. There's still a lot of value in the community, a lot of things we can do. And I felt much relaxed, much more chilled after that. So my tip for you, if you're feeling that, is definitely do the brain dump, write down all of your thoughts, and speak with your users, because they know best. If you don't speak with them, you'll always assume the worst. You will assume that they are hating it, they are not using the community, there's too much people. But if you speak with them, you'll definitely understand. And even if they give you feedback, that's the feedback you should work on, not the monsters that you are kind of creating in your head. So, feeling good with that, and to give you also kind of an update on what I'm doing with the community, what I think the community should go as it scales up, is that I believe that we should have different things going on, right? We have the WBE labs, we have now started the accelerator, right? So people, they don't need to kind of do everything in the community. They can just be focused in their little group. They can be focused in the accelerator. They can be focused on what I'm doing today channel, the feedback channel. Heck, they can just come for the discounts, right? So a lot of things, and I think we'll have this kind of little islands as the community grows. And even for the events, we had, as I told you, the event, and this time, we have more and more people every week or every event. We have more people. So I think I didn't even count, actually, to be honest, but maybe 15, 20 people. And this was the first time we did an event with presentation. A lot of people asking me so I said, okay, let's do it. Normally, the idea of this event is just for us to chill and speak and to have kind of meeting or a meetup of entrepreneurs. But a lot of people were asking for having a presentation. So one of our members did a presentation. He set it up. He did everything, all the work. So I'm really thankful for that. And we started. In the end, I think the presentation was a little bit too long, and after the event, I collected a lot of feedbacks, and people said, okay, maybe we should make it shorter, the presentation, and I was kind of beating myself up after that, because I felt that I was not a good moderator, that I should have cut short the presentation, that I should have moderated a little bit better. But in the end, I did my best, I collected the feedback, and next time we'll do it a bit better. In the end, people enjoyed it, people learned things, they got to speak with each other, and I always feel that these events kind of renew the cohesion of the group, because people get to see who the others are, their faces, they get to speak with each other. So, yeah. I really recommend, if you have a community, to do this kind of events once a month or so, because it really, really makes a difference. Besides that, as I told you, we just kickstarted the accelerator program. The idea is to do 10 weeks. We have 2 groups of 5, and we'll be working each other within our groups to achieve our goals. There's multiple people with different kinds of goals, and in the end, we'll have a demo day. So far, the biggest problem with this is that we have people from different time schedules. So it's really hard to kind of have these meetings, because we are having one meeting per week or one meeting every 2 weeks. And the times are really super different, right? So in my group, for instance, I have people from the US, and we have to do the meetings in my afternoon, which is their morning. So I don't know how this is going to... how we are going to do it. And so far it started well, but not with the energy that I was expecting. So maybe we'll have to change things around, but I mean, this is a learning process. And with the labs, the WBE labs, I've been telling you about it for a while now. It's also definitely a bit slower. So this project, we're learning a lot about this project, and the labs was definitely too big. too big. The project was too big for 1 month. So if we do another lab, it will need to be a much shorter lab or a much simpler project. But now we had a meeting with the devs and we split tasks, and now we are actually building, and I'm learning something new. We will be building with React and the Node.js. I've never worked with Node.js, so it's going to be fun. So for me, the goal is just to keep my coding skills up to date, and that will be really, really nice. That's it for my project updates. I just wanted to chat a little bit now about the lifestyle of the entrepreneur, because it's been an interesting month so far, and we just started, right? It's the month that I'm burning my savings, right? I am not getting any unemployment money. And sometimes I feel that my partner and I are kind of living in a different dimension, right? She has a normal job, right? That she works from 9 to 6. Yeah, here in Portugal it's 9 to 6. It's not 9 to 5. Amazing. And I have what I guess considered an abnormal job. And everything is so uncertain for me yet, right? So I'm not making money. I don't know if I will soon. And she wants to maybe buy a house, or we need to buy a car. We need to do all of this kind of stuff. And I do have some savings, but I don't want to use them now because I'm not making enough money. So my only focus now is to live and to build the project and to see where I'm going to be next month and in 2 months. I don't know if I will basically go back to a normal job, if I will, be able to make ends meet and make somehow a salary. So it does seem that there are kind of different priorities at the moment. And I don't even know if I'm going to publish this. This is just a way of me to kind of put my ideas in order. But yeah, that's, I think, definitely a challenge of being an entrepreneur. It's that people just do not understand you. Even when my friends were here, they have normal jobs, right? And I feel that they helped me, right? So I told them what I was going through, and they gave me some good suggestions, but they are just not in the same zone, right? They are not entrepreneurs. And even if you are an entrepreneur and you are doing it as a side project, I don't fully know if you really understand, right? You do understand it's a different thing. Like, you have different challenges. When you are an entrepreneur, but you are doing your projects as a side projects, people won't take you as serious, right? So it's really hard to convince your partner that you want to spend your weekend building your project, for instance. They'll be like, but why? What's the priority there? Like, that's not bringing you money. So in that sense, now it's much better because everyone knows that this is my main priority because this is kind of my job. But they also don't fully understand that there's a big toll mentally, that you just don't know where you're going to be in the next months. You don't even know if you will like it, if you will enjoy doing this for the rest of your life, if you want to hustle for the rest of your life. And society is made so that you kind of fit in. You need to buy your car, you need to have those days, to have holidays, to have kids, to have all of that. And I think that in that sense, being an entrepreneur, especially a bootstrapper, when you're not making money, you are living somehow outside of society, right? I don't have a job. I don't have social security. I cannot get unemployment money. So I just have my savings. My savings is what keeps me going. You know, I know that if I need to find a job or if something comes up, I have that money. If now I put that money to buy a house, right, I have no savings. So I'm completely alone. Wow, this is really good. I think we're doing great improvements here in this therapy session. I think that's why think that's why I need to keep this money on the side. It's somehow a security. It's what keeps me sane while going through this entrepreneurship journey. Hopefully, it will end soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to make money, and I don't know, I will have my ideas a bit clearer. But so far, yeah, that's definitely the struggles of this entrepreneurial journey. And that's what I have to tell you in the section of the lifestyle of an entrepreneur. Also, I forgot to tell you while I was speaking about my product updates, I did say in the intro that I would speak about it. So my main marketing channels, as you know, are Twitter and Indie Hackers. And I was kind of abusing Indie Hackers because it was bringing a lot of great results. A lot of people were coming to the community from Indie Hackers. The only thing I was doing was going to the first page, check the posts, and kind of come up with a comment that was valuable, but was still mentioning my community, right? So let's say someone is speaking about no code. I would say, we have this member, Mark is a member of the WBE Space, and he's also building a tool in no code. And people would be curious about what the WBE Space was, and they would just check it out. This was great, as I told you. But at some point, I started to, I don't know, maybe pushing it too much. I was not even doing any effort to create proper comments. I was just saying, hey, why don't you come and build your product in the WBE Space? So finally, a moderator came to me and said, Tiago, you're abusing it too much. So I stopped it. I will definitely come back to it in the, of course, much reduced way. But by stopping it, I was mostly focusing then in building stuff in the community. But I saw that the traffic coming to my website reduced a lot. So I still need these marketing channels to improve the business. There's no passive income of users. And that's something that I always say. I don't want a passive income. I just want a passive source of new users coming. And SEO could be great, right? So that's what's happening with Changes, for instance. But I cannot hit the nail with CEO still for my podcast, for the WBE Space. There's not a lot of people coming from Google. So I'm kind of, trying to come up with new ideas to bring people to the website. And for that, we go to the tips and tricks of entrepreneurs, the last section of today's episode. And I want to speak about a new tool that I am currently trying out, and it's called Syften. Yeah, it's kind of a weird name, and it's really interesting, by the way. So I was on Twitter, right? And Luca, I spoke about him, the founder of Ivory. He told me, hey, Tiago, you should interview this guy because he's really cool. I was just chatting with him before. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. So why do you think I should interview him? And he said, he just has a cool project. And I said, okay, let me check it out. And his name is Michael Mazurek. And we chatted for a little bit. I didn't fully understand if he was interested also in being part of the podcast or not. But I don't know. I didn't see the appeal. I was not particularly interested in having him in the episode. And I guess we take a lot of first impressions from Twitter. So, for instance, I normally check people's bio picture. And Michael's picture is basically him and the background of flames. I don't know. For me, when I check that, I feel, my brain immediately associates with a very tough person, and I don't know, that might not be the best for my kind of personality while interviewing. So we kind of stopped speaking for a while, and then someone mentioned Syften. So Syften is a tool where you can basically define your keywords. So for me, it would be bootstrapping, entrepreneurship, solopreneur, and then every, hour, Syften scans the internet and scans Reddit, Twitter, Indie Hackers, a bunch of forums, and sends you an email where people are speaking about your topic. And Mark, for instance, from Power Importer, he was the one that told me about this tool, and it told me that this is how he gets users to Power Importer, and is making really, really good MRR just from that. So he says, I think once a week or twice a week, he gets this email. He goes through the forums, he kind of plugs his Power Importer product, and that's it. This is amazing because this is what I was doing manually, right? I was going to Reddit, I was going to LinkedIn, I was going to Indie Hackers and doing that. So there's now a tool that allows you to do this. And I'm now doing the trial period. So far, it seems great. I will maybe give you some more updates in the next episodes. But so far, it's really cool. I'm getting everything on the email. And now I'll try. I still didn't try to plug my community, but I'll try doing that today. And I'll let you know how it goes maybe in the next episodes. But it seems a really cool way to automate the marketing process, and at least to cut some time. You still have to invest some time in plugging in your product and come up with the relevant comments, but at least seems really cool. And I was fascinated about this product. I was like, wow, this is super cool. And then the moment you sign up, you get super cool emails. And I got a nice email, and I got a picture of the founder. I was like, this is really cool. And I wanted to chat with the founder. My first thought was like, I need to interview this person in the podcast. And then I clicked on DMs, and who was this person? Michael. Yes, the same person that I kind of discarded a little bit for the podcast in the beginning. And now I'm super interested. So, it's just like, when you first see like a picture says more than 1,000 words, right? Like I remember even Mark from Power Importer, I just told him like his picture, he seems super tough guy. You look at him, it's like super serious. And then when we're chatting, he's a completely different than kind of personality than what I had firstly imagined. So just saying that it's really interesting how people make assumptions based on pictures. And I certainly did that. And it was definitely my mistake. So let's see if we get Michael here in the podcast. I think it would be really interesting. But until then, this is a great tool. I think the cheapest price, though, is 14 euros per month. So it's a bit on the high end for a bootstrapper. I'm not sure if I'll be going for it, but I need to see. I need to test it first. We have a trial period, so I'll be doing the trial and see if it works or not. And maybe we'll give a discount to the WBE Space. Let's see. I will ask him about that. And that's it. If you want to test it out, the link will be in the description. And as always, I don't do any advertisement, so there is no one paid me to speak about this tool. And that's it for today's episode. There are a couple of ways on how you can help me. If you like these episodes and you'll want them to continue, you can buy me a coffee, and the link will be in the description. It really helps. I don't do any advertisement, so buying a coffee every once in a while really, really helps. You can also become a supporter. It costs $5 per month, and you are not only supporting the podcast, but you get access to the WBE Space. So it's kind of you get to support both things, and you still get the possibility to work on your projects. But even if you don't want to, you can just do this, pay $5 just to support the podcast, to make sure it continues, to make sure that I keep on interviewing other people. So it's up to you. If you like it, it would be really, really amazing. And of course, you can share it around with your friends, your peers, your entrepreneur friends on Twitter, everywhere. And last but not least, giving a great review on Apple or Spotify. That really, really helps. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. This coming Thursday, there will be another great interview, so make sure to tune in for that. And yeah, this was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you next time. I'm thinking on creating a proper logo for the WBE and then starting selling some merch. So let me know if you're interested.